Okay, welcome to the People's Sports Podcast. I'm Charlotte Wilder. He's Mark Titus. We've got some emails for you, but first, Mark, how are you?
I'm okay, Charlotte. You're back in my laptop screen. What happened? For a moment in time, you were here in front of me in the flesh, and then now all of a sudden I'm sitting back where it all started.
I know. I pulled a LeBron and I went through the screen and like in Space Jam 2. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
It was good to see you. We did the live show Friday. That was a lot of fun. Thank you to the multiple people that came out. Count them, folks. Multiple. There were more than one.
At least 10 people were there.
That was a lot of fun. And then I had plans to see you again over the weekend, but you were in West Hollywood, and I'm famously Marina Del Rey Mark, and I do not go. For no reason will I go east of Lincoln.
No, God, no.
I do not go east of Lincoln. So, no, I never saw you. Like we were supposed to go to the beach together or do something, and it just never worked out.
I know. Yeah. But I think that was like the most LA possible.
I was gonna say
scenario.
That is
like,
an LA experience.
Right,
yeah, it's like we make plans, and then like we're both kind of like It would take a lot of effort for both of us to make this work. So like,
we made plans and then
not.
it just didn't happen. But I'll be back soon, Mark. And then you're stuck with me every weekend this fall.
God.
I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't know. Doing the live show was very fun. Thank you to everyone who listened and watched. And people came, and I was like,
yeah,
wow, this is we're really doing this. But
we didn't get heckled too badly. I thought it was going to be worse, but no, it was nice. What did you end up doing in LA? I'm curious what you got into. What did you just? I don't have
what
a
my
guess.
LA experience. But I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't do much during the week when I was there, except work stuff, because that migraine really. I was like, maybe we'll just get this one out of the way, and then that'll be good for a year. But I actually ended up on Saturday. I ended up going east and drove around Silver Lake and Echo Park, and I was see, this feels like Brooklyn, so I like it here.
No.
And I knew you were gonna hate that, so I didn't tell you until the podcast to get your live reaction.
Silver Lake, Echo Park, it's the most baffling thing in the world to me that people move from New York City. It's basically who lives there. It's like people from New York.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You move all the way across the country, Charlotte, and then you live just far enough away from the beach that you could never go to the beach. Like the whole point of living in LA, in my mind, is enjoying the weather, because there's, frankly, there's a lot to hate about this city, but the one thing that's undefeated is the weather and
true.
And the beach vibes. So why would you live an hour 15 from the beach? It makes no sense. It doesn't add up.
I think it's because Los Angeles makes me sort of anxious in general, and being in a part that feels more like New York, I'm like, oh, okay, all right.
Being around other anxious people.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just people I'm like, oh, you're also a neurotic East Coaster. Okay. Like when you walk around West Hollywood and everyone's just hot, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I realize that the difference between New York and LA, which we can stop talking about for everyone who's not in either one of these cities, because it's the most boring thing you could talk about, is that in LA, people will pick you up at the airport, but in New York, you can kind of look horrible all the time, and it's endearing.
Yeah. Do
you know what I mean?
It's true. Because LA is so narcissistic that no one cares what you're wearing or what everyone's just about themselves. So
and you're just supposed to sort of look hot all the time.
Yeah, and you can wear literally anything, and as long as you're semi-confident about it, or no one cares. No one.
But New York, you can look depressed, and everyone's like, "Oh, cool, same." It's fine. Anyway, what did you do this weekend?
We should do for the more relatable, because we have a lot of people from the Midwest. That seems to be the people that follow me, at least. Are Midwest people. To make it more relatable, we should be the difference between Columbus and St. Louis.
Seriously,
I've always felt
let's do the difference between Boston and Columbus. That's really what is the difference between Boston and Columbus?
Everything.
What's the biggest difference to you?
I guess they're probably very similar, right? In that we both think our sports team is the only team that matters, and we both think that if you have us ranked second in your power rankings, it's the biggest offense possible. It's how dare you? We can't take a joke really about it. If someone made a joke about the Patriots, on Friday, I was talking to someone about believe it or not, the George Mason Patriots. college
okay.
basketball team.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you heard us say the word Patriots, and you like, well, what? Who's talking about the Patriots?
Oh my God.
Yeah, when you heard Patriots, you remember
I
this?
assumed I heard, yeah, you were on the other side of the bar, and I heard Patriots, and I looked over, and you were standing there, and I was like, are they talking
No.
shit about me?
No, exactly.
I
Yeah,
assumed immediately that someone was saying something bad about me personally.
I feel like Ohio State fans are the same way, where we really can't take it. We like to think we can take jokes, but the moment someone makes fun of like Ohio State fans, I don't like it.
Well, it's what you said. It's
But
what
I
you said
also-
at the live show, which is that like Ohio State is the second best at everything, and so
Yeah.
you're the best at everything, but like not quite. So it still hits a nerve when people say you're
Yes.
not.
And or if like it's something that's so obviously true that like I can't even deny it. Like if you make a joke, I'm like, that's not true. We're not stupid. Actually, Ohio State is actually a very good school. Check the average ACT score to get in. It's not, but if it's something that's like undeniable, where it's like you have a lot of rednecks that cheer for you, or the guys who the super fans who paint their faces are annoying as hell, or whatever else, I will just like pivot away and be like, yeah, but that's not all of us, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Hashtag not all Ohio State fans.
Yeah, Ohio. I know a story of an Ohio State fan that beat the hell out of a Michigan guy in a porta potty during the '97 game or something like that, and I'm like, okay, that's probably true, but
However, hear me out.
I never beat a guy up in a porta potty. So
I
we're
read
not all
long books though, is the thing.
Yeah, so that's probably the similarities. Anyway, my weekend, I had a very eventful weekend, Charlotte. I'll make it quick. I tore my meniscus playing beach volleyball
Wait,
on Saturday.
did you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, it's not that bad.
You tore your meniscus?
I'm self-diagnosing it, but it's pretty obvious what happened. Yeah, because it catches at the right spot
Mark.
when I go to straighten my knee. When I yeah, it's all.
That's like a significant injury.
I don't know. It's one of those deals that like, I think this is going to suit me well moving forward, because I have a built-in excuse for everything. That if I can't do something, I can just be like, I have a torn meniscus in
Yeah,
my left
man,
knee.
but like, are you gonna go to the doctor?
No, I probably not.
Oh my
Probably
god,
not.
men are the worst. Men are like
No.
you. Oh
You
god,
know
it's
what's
like
funny?
you
I got-
literally tore a ligament. You're like, I'm fine,
You know what's
and
funny?
I have a cold, and I'm like, I'm at the doctor immediately.
I got home and I was like, I fall down. I take a shower. I get home. Like we were playing for a while, and then like I noticed like as the day wore on, like I couldn't really move as much, and I was like, it's probably just the sand, because like, when you're doing athletic stuff in sand, you obviously move slower, you can't jump as high, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, it's either the sand, maybe I'm just not that great of an athlete anymore. That could be it. Like I'm getting older, obviously. But I swear to God, like the net looks like it's 7 feet tall, and I can't even like jump and spot. Like what's going on here? The day goes on, I realize, oh, my knee is hurting. Like this is like a real thing.
Oh my god.
I go home, I take a shower, I fall into the couch, and then I go to like kick my legs up, and like just picking my legs up to put them up, like pain just shoots down my leg.
Did you tore both menisci?
No, it was just the one on the left. And so I decided I need to ice. I was like, I probably should put some ice
Was it
on
swollen?
it. A little bit, yeah. And it feels better now because the swelling's gone now. Because I iced it, but you would love this, Charlotte. I go to my freezer to get ice, and my ice machine sucks at the apartment I live in. Like this fridge, like the ice machine just like doesn't work that great. And so I grabbed my Yeti ice.
Oh no!
I have this block of Yeti ice. And I'm just holding Yeti ice to my knee as I'm watching the OC reruns.
It stayed cold for a while.
It stayed
I bet.
cold forever.
It stayed cold for a lot. That's well. I'm laughing
that was
also
that.
because when I self-diagnosed, broke my pinky toe this summer, I used a Yeti ice cube. I just stuck my foot on it, and I was like, "Well, here we go."
So that's pretty much it. And then I went out on the boat yesterday.
That same
Again,
boat.
same boat, and I was happy. So like the good and the bad. The bad was that I'm pretty certain I tore my meniscus. The good was that I got invited for date number 2 out on the boat.
Damn,
the guy
I'm
with
so
the boat,
happy
same
for you.
guy. And I'm gonna say I knocked it out of the park. There's a situation where we dropped the anchor. This guy likes to go. We take the boat up to Malibu, and we just drop the anchor there. And I guess it's like, I don't know. It's cool. It's a fun time. If you're gonna
amazing.
if you're gonna pick a place to go, that seems pretty good. So we drop an anchor, but there other boats have this similar idea to do that. So like every time I say every time, we've done it twice. there are always like a handful of other boats that are in the same general area that we go to. One of these boats decided that he one of the guys on this other boat knew one of the guys on our boat. And so they had the genius idea of tying up. They wanted to bring the boat over, link them up, put a few fenders in, tie them all together. What they did not factor in, Charlotte, was that one, the waves were very choppy.
Oh no.
And number two, I think between both boats there were like maybe 3 fenders.
Oh my God. So it's just like knocking. That's such a nightmare.
And the boats are hitting each other, and I'm sitting there, you know, I have a skosh of experience, as we've talked about it. Like I took these sailing lessons, and I'm like, I understand like kind of how boats work, but I'm not gonna step in because this is like not my domain. I'm gonna let you guys figure out how to do all this. And then as the disaster is unfolding, I realize that nobody on either boat has any idea what they're doing. These are just guys that just like have, and the captain of our boat, very nice guy, probably too nice, because he's just like letting this happen. He's like, I thought they knew what they were doing. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And everyone's looking around. And suddenly I'm like, all right, I'm going to make the call. Bad idea. Everybody go away. And then the captain of the other boat starts yelling, but we don't have an anchor. And I was like, what? And he goes, we can't, our anchor doesn't work. So God. What this other boat does is just like does circles around us. It was a whole nightmare. So anyway,
so they were anchor mooching.
They were trying to anchor mooch. Yeah.
You know what we call that in the biz?
What's that?
Rafting up.
Oh, okay. I'll use that.
You raft your boat. Yeah, you raft up to the other boat.
They tried to raft up.
Sounds like an absolute disaster.
I mean, that I've seen, like, I see boats tie. I just say they tie them up. They raft up. But traditionally, it's on like a tiny ass lake in Ohio or something, and it's like pontoon boats that are just like kind of chilling, and they just tie. You know,
doing this on the ocean, like this actually I wondered why I had such like a visceral reaction when you told me about the waves and the bumping, because when I hate when I start sentences this way, but when I taught sailing, the instructors would be in motorboats, and there were 3 motorboats. There were 2 littler ones and a bigger one. And we would put each little one on the other side. And on days where it was wavy, I would get so pissed at the other instructors because I'd be like, we can't do this. I'd be like, this isn't fun for anyone. Nobody wants this. The boats are smashing into each other and be like, but we want to hang out. And I'd be like, no hanging out. No. I'm taking this boat and leaving. It's like the most frustrating. It's like a really windy day when you're like, you can't, your hair's in your face and like it's just like the frustration of the elements that you're like, we're not doing this. We're done. Yeah. So I'm glad that you had the presence of mind to say we're not doing this.
The point of telling you all that was that through this situation, through me taking the slightest initiative just to be like, bad idea, don't do this. I think I won some favor with the guy who so now I think I'm in is what I think that's the announcement.
You played like you stepped in and like were the bad cop when no one would be.
Yes. And I officially have some sort of utility to the guy who owns the boat now. So I feel like enforcer. I'm in, and now away we go. I have it. So if any of you listening ever come to Marina Del Rey, hit me up. I know a guy with the boat.
I'm going to do that. I'm coming back soon, and we're going to go on the boat. So, but I'm going to be obnoxious because I'll be like, oh, I'll tie the cleat. I got it. Like, you need me to put the fenders out? Oh God, it's exhausting being
me, man, fun times.
Well,
I
hope your knee heals.
It's all right.
Okay. All right. Well, keep me posted.
It's all right. I don't know. We'll see what happens. No, I mean, it's like any other thing that happens. Any other ailment, sickness, you name it. You just give it a week. Give it a week or two. And if it still hurts after a week, you're like, we'll give it another week.
Yeah, good. Okay.
We'll see what happens.
It's healthy. Jesus. All right. Let's get to some emails. We've got one called subject line college spelling chance. And this is, I'm going to be honest, Mark, we got a few emails about things we talked about on the live show, and I actually don't remember a single thing we said. Like, I read these emails and I was like, oh yeah, I guess we did see. I think completely sober, I think I just blacked out for the entire show.
Wow.
I think how you wanted.
Yeah. I remember the spelling chance though thing, so maybe I'll take this one.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Okay. So Shar, Mark, Moses, and Jim. Jim! We got a Jim shout out. Jim. Okay. Producer Jim. This is from Rochelle Ames, and she says, I'm actively listening to the live show, which is a lovely distinction because I think most people listen to podcasts passively. I also, before we get into this, I want to say the thing about the live show that was so interesting to me is like when we're talking just, as the podcast, not in front of anyone, we sort of talk, and like if we're background noise for people, that's great. But when you're doing a live show, you're very aware that like you are wasting everyone's time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, we have to really we got to keep people engaged this whole time.
Like, that guy has checked his watch 6 times in the last 5 minutes. Yeah.
Like he's not just doing the dishes with us in his ear. He's like sitting here looking at us. Yeah. So thank you to everyone who let us waste your time. So Rochelle says, I am a WSU alum, back to pack except UW. Also welcome Charlotte to the Pac-12 After Dark fandom. We love hate it here. She says, and we chant/spell at the end of our fight song. So we end up spelling it out at least 10 times per game, depending on the number of times we score. I'll type it out with the cadence below. WASHIN, I can't really, anyway, she spells the whole thing. Washington State Cougs, which seems very long.
Cougs as well. Washington State COUGS.
Yes. She says, although my dad, also an alum, still cannot get the spelling right, which I relate to so intensely. He graduated in 1979. He refuses to, quote, learn it, but he does try to pretend there are cheerleading style arm movements that go with it. One final WSU fight song thing. The fight song minus the spelling is in the movie Volunteers, sung by John Candy. She says, can't wait for the live show on campuses.
Wow.
Cheers, Rochelle.
We'll have to check that out. For those who missed it, we had a brief discussion during the live show. We were talking about, I think Charlotte asked me, like, what are the traditions at Ohio State around the Ohio State football whole scene, I guess. What are the Ohio State, if you're going to the Ohio State football game, what are some traditions? And I said, basically, every tradition is just spelling Ohio. That's it. It's either like OH and then another guy says IO. It's the marching band doing script Ohio. Everything is just like spelling. Or there's Stadium Ohio, which I didn't even bring up during the show, which is we just go around like if you're sitting on the one section, you say O, then the next, it's like the wave, except it's
I actually watched that happen.
O-H-I-O. That's like every tradition is just spelling Ohio. And I was commenting on how funny that is. And then we slowly realized there are a lot, like that's true of a lot of schools. And that's why, what's her name? Rochelle wrote in to say Washington State. Now because the idea of Washington State Cougs, that feels very long. I'm curious now, what is the longest spelling that exists in college sports? Like,
my God.
We should make this a quest to find Mississippi State Bulldogs. Do they spell out the whole?
Yes, please tell us. Let us know if you have spelled a very long name of a school before, because I relate to Rochelle, who says that her dad can't spell this still, despite graduating from this college in 1979. I can't spell anything. You put me on the spot, I'm not going to be able to do it. So I completely relate to being the person. It's like not really knowing the words to a song, where you just sort of like fudge it. Like that to me seems like the smartest thing to do when it comes to spelling Washington State Cougs, because that's entirely too long to spell. What
was the example someone threw out at the show? Is it USC that spells like Southern California?
Yes.
Is that what we heard?
I think that's what it was.
That's insane too.
I mean, come on.
That's going to be a subplot of this tour. Is we're on the search for the longest chant.
I love it.
Like, at least Ohio State is just like OHIO and then you're done. We're not like WASHINGTONSTATECOUG.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I have a long name, Charlotte. It's 9 letters, I think. I think it's 9 letters. And when I was in preschool, my best friend's name was Amy, and she's still one of my best friends, but I could spell Amy's name before I could spell my name because it was way easier. And I would walk around the house, and she spelled it A-M-I-E, not with a Y. And so I'd walk around the house going A-M-I-E, A-M-I-E, A-M-I-E. And my parents were like, we should probably just work on, like, maybe we'll just do Char. Maybe we'll just do C-H-A-R. Yeah. You can get that.
Oh, man.
It's good.
Good stuff.
All right. Another email about the live show was when this isn't really even a comment. It's just making fun of you. Which is at one point during the live show, we described a situation where your 17-year-old high school self would be Tom Brady's backup for some reason.
No, this was during the show you did in studio. Remember
Oh,
we were
God.
talking
See,
about
I don't
yeah,
even-
it all blends
yeah,
together.
right, yeah.
Zach because I said, would you rather have two Zach Wilsons, who's
Or
20,
one
who is
Tom
now
Brady.
22 years old, or Tom Brady, who is
Right.
twice his age,
Right.
and then have like me as a backup? And yeah, the debate rages on.
The debate. Well, someone wrote in and quoted you saying, "Charlotte, this is a very straightforward hypothetical." As you were talking about that, and that made me laugh because it's not.
because like you were confused by my hypothetical.
Yeah. Thank you, Rod. Rod Barkoff.
Now hold on, let's add another layer. 44-year-old Tom Brady, or two Zach Wilsons when he's 22 years old, or 44-year-old Tom Brady as a starter, 17-year-old me with a torn meniscus.
Easy, you every time.
Perfect. All
Hands
right.
down. You'd heal so much more quickly than
Yeah.
a 22-year-old or a 44-year-old. You're 17.
Yeah, it's a
Oh
good
my
point.
God.
Good point.
We got an email about college football realignment, which is what we talked about in our live show. If I'm not,
Yes, you got that correct,
If
yes.
I remember that.
Let's just do a
correctly.
quiz of like, did we talk about this or not? And Charlotte's
I
like, I
won't
don't
know.
think so. Maybe, yes.
I will have no idea. From Josiah Mintz. And he says, who are the funniest two new teams the Big Ten could add from a geographic standpoint? Doesn't have to be realistic or even possible, since a lot of schools might not want to change conferences, or if they do, they might not have the football talent or the academics to mesh with the rest of the Big Ten. That's pandering to you, Josiah. You're pandering to
thank
Mark.
you, Josiah.
He says,
No.
but let's say the Big Ten adds two new FBS teams from somewhere way outside their current geographic footprint. What schools should they add and why? Ever hopeful, despite being an Oklahoma State fan. Josiah.
I think beyond geography, the Big Ten is culture as well. Like there's a Big Ten vibe, if you will, Charlotte, which is why like Rutgers and Maryland don't fit in the like we added Rutgers, Maryland, and Nebraska around the same time, and more people were upset with Rutgers and Maryland because that's East Coast. Nebraska we weren't as upset with because it like fits the vibe. They know how to farm corn in Nebraska. So you're welcome to the Big Ten. You're in.
They have potatoes with every
yes,
meal in Nebraska.
Yes. Come on in.
Yeah.
Maryland, Rutgers, you're East Coasters. I don't really know how we feel about this. So it's not just geography. It's got to be that. And with that, I think like Pepperdine's a great answer.
Why?
Like, are you kidding? Pepperdine's in Malibu on it's like the most beautiful campus on earth.
Funniest.
Isn't that what he
schools
said?
You could add. Yeah, I was thinking. I got confused, and I was like, "What? I completely
Oh,
botched
no.
that."
I'm-
No, the funniest
so-
would be Pepperdine.
I'm trying to think of like culture. Like Pepperdine obviously fits geographically. It makes no sense. But also like culturally, the idea of Pepperdine being in with the Big Ten, the idea of like Nebraska having to play at Pepperdine, and then Wisconsin versus Pepperdine, and like those fans are
Hawaii,
mingling.
University of Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii would be a good one. UNLV, like Vegas.
Yes.
Throw Vegas in there. That is very much not Big Ten culture.
That would be
Miami.
perfect.
What about the
Miami.
U? The U.
That's it. That's the funniest. Miami joining the Big Ten would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Although I think it's kind of funny that are they still in the ACC? Has that not
Yeah,
changed?
they're still in the ACC. Yeah.
I always thought that was funny.
Yeah, the ACC is hilarious because it's kind of like it's culturally two different conferences. Like the SEC is the Southeastern Conference. Obviously, that's what it stands for. The ACC is like the South and the East Conference. We're like
The ACC makes zero sense.
We're like the Southern schools in the ACC have like one vibe to them, and then there's like Boston College and Syracuse, and like Pitt, and they're like and so like Clemson and Miami and Florida State are like, should we be in the SEC?
Right.
And Pitt and Boston College are like, where do we belong? How do we fit into this? I don't
The
know.
ACC is just
weird.
all the schools that couldn't be in the SEC or didn't fit anywhere else.
Yes, kind of.
Which means that
Yeah.
the SEC is coming for the other ones.
Yes. And the ACC like slowly got good at basketball, and then that became not slowly. I shouldn't have said slowly. They were always good at basketball, but that became like the identity of the ACC was like, all right, well, since the SEC is better at football, I guess we'll just be known as the basketball conference, which has served them well for a long time, Charlotte. But we've arrived at 2021 where we've run the numbers and football is all that matters.
Yes, right. Oh, God. It's so true.
So best of luck to you, ACC. We'll see
Shout
what
out
happens
Clemson.
next. Yeah.
All right. Here's this I actually do remember talking about this. This was from our show on Wednesday. The subject line, which immediately caught my eye, is red practice jerseys. Feudalism? Question mark. This is from Dan Kelly. Charlotte
I don't know
Mark.
if we need to. Do we even need to read the email? Like that's one of those deals where the headline Read the email, but I'm
we
like
don't,
that is
but it's
a
well
perfect
written.
that's a perfect subject of just like
Well, Dan really crushed this one. He says, "Hi, sorry to bother you guys at work, but I think it's important to consider the message being sent when a quarterback wears a no-contact jersey during practice. Sure, it's great for Aaron Rodgers that he's getting his black Escalade experience or whatever, but I'm concerned about the message that it sends to the dozens of other guys on the practice field about how expendable they actually are. It seems that it would be pretty easy to say to all of the players, hey, you better not do anything that's going to injure anyone during practice. We need everyone healthy for the start of the season.
Right.
Or if you really need a visual cue, have everyone wear a red jersey. But they
Right.
don't do that. So okay. And then he says, it is clear to me that this is a modern form of feudalism, though I will confess that I don't know what feudalism is or how it works. But it seems like something that kings and lords and knights would experience if they played football in the 1300s or maybe a different century, depending on when feudalism was in vogue. I probably should have read about feudalism before sending this email, but I got distracted by how much the color analyst for Olympic diving sounds like Amy Sedaris. Love the show, DK.
I don't know what feudalism is, but this is definitely it. He makes a great point that it does kind of, it's supposed to illustrate that the quarterback, please don't touch the quarterback, but what it's really saying is everyone else you can kill everybody else. We don't
Right.
care. That's really
They can
what you're
tear
saying.
their meniscuses, but we don't.
Yeah.
We don't mind.
How funny would it be if like the guy who's on the kickoff team who's like, or the gunners, what they call it, the punter, on the punt team, like the guy who, starts out wide and then is supposed to run down and be the guy who makes the tackle. I think those are called gunners. The guy who's like a gunner in practice has to wear a green jersey because they're basically like, we really don't give a shit about that guy. Like light this guy up.
Yeah, and then
Put him
like
in a green one.
important linemen have yellow jerseys where they're like, we realize they should practice this, but also don't screw this up
But
for us.
please, or it's just your whatever your contract is. That's how they.
Yes.
That's color coded by contract.
If you're over 20 million, you're in a red jersey. If you're in the 5 to 10, it's yellow. Anything under 5, you're wearing green.
You're green, and just get your ass lit up. We don't care. You're
That's so
expendable.
depressing. Very true, though.
He makes a great point. Feudalism. What is it? Does anybody know? I envy those. I envy people that have a very good grasp of all the different types of governments and I don't know.
I know
societal
exactly what
structures.
feudalism is.
What is
Not
it?
to brag. It's serfs. Feudal lords. They had their serfdoms there, and basically you were just bound to that lord, and you couldn't do anything about it. And it's did you watch The Great, about Catherine the Great?
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, I'm following. I'm tracking. Yes. Go
Okay,
on.
so there's a scene in that show, which is a great show. It's very dark and brutal about Russia, which is actually what Russia was like. I took a weird amount of Russian history. I don't know. Anyway, there's a scene where someone gets the measles, and so they just burn all of the serfs in the village, and that's basically what feudalism is. Is that like they would just kill everybody to save the chance that the lords would get sick over helping the serfs not get sick. They just be like, we're gonna call it.
That's feudalism,
Yeah.
which is different from a monarchy.
They go hand in hand. There
Or
were
is-
kings and queens at the same time, but then it would trickle down to the lords, the feudal lords, who might not be kings and queens, but they sort of report up. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what feudalism is.
No, I always feel like I know what things are, and then if I try to explain them, I'm just basically explaining
was-
something else. You know?
Yeah, that was a really humbling experience for me.
Yeah. And
I don't know. You know what? We'll do some research. We'll come back on Wednesday.
And there's
we'll tell
always,
people.
and I feel like there's always something that pops up on the internet where like people are observing more often than not the American government and how the mechanisms are at work, but like sometimes it's another country, whatever. And you'll see like people start using a word to describe whatever it is that, like this is modern day feudalism, if you will, And I always have to Google that because I'm always like, I understand it. I thought I understood it. Like I remember taking this class in history in high school and passing, but I don't understand all the like, why did we all settle on like calling what is happening right now fascism or whatever?
Right, like how did we get here?
Like,
well, the
what are
fascism
tenets-
one I get. I get the
But what are
fascism one.
No, when the fascism one, I was like, what are the tenets of fascism? I don't actually remember. Like, what's the difference between fascism and a dictatorship? And like, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, and then
I'm
you
trying to
start
like suss all
thinking-
this out.
You're like, what's the difference between socialism and communism? Because if you ask me right now, I actually couldn't tell you. But like, I
Exactly.
see it and I pretend that I understand. I'm
You get it.
convinced that
You get it.
everybody, I used to think that I was the only one who didn't understand things.
Yes.
I used to think that everybody understood everything all the time, and I was the only one who didn't. And it was very freeing when I realized that nobody understands anything ever.
Charlotte, you want to get a bunch of people mad at you? Call America like a democratic or a democracy. That's it. If you call America democracy, then people are like, we're actually a democratic republic or a republic democracy of a. You know, because like a true democracy, Charlotte, is where we all vote on everything. Where there's we decide like when it's time to decide should Florida have a mask mandate or not, all the citizens of Florida vote. And that's not how we work, because we elect representatives to then vote on the things
So
we're not a true democracy.
A
What
representative
we are is
democracy?
I don't know, like all these things.
Couldn't tell you. Hey, this is why we do
And it's
sports.
like, and you think like it's one of those deals where like you think you have an understanding of something, and then you realize, and yeah, I don't know, because
and then you start thinking about it, and you're like, why do we do things this way?
The more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything, and then you just detach, and that's it, and you're just I'm an idiot. Yeah.
And then you go into sports media.
I guess I'm gonna do sports for a living.
Guess this is where we're gonna end up.
Much easier.
Speaking of sports, here's a good one. Subject line: should be Olympic events, from Dustin Brewer. Hey Charlotte, Mark, Moses, and the PSP team. After seeing the viral table tennis volley, I think it's. Did you see that, by the way?
I did, yeah.
It was incredible. For anyone who didn't see it, it was a table tennis match where one guy ran around the table somehow to hit the shot to beat the other guy. It was out of control. Go look it up. Dustin says, I think it's only right that the IOC immediately add foosball and air hockey to the games and create a tabletop triathlon.
Yeah. That's a great idea, and it's only junior high kids that are drinking a bunch of Mountain Dew that can play, and there's like a few arcade games sprinkled in there too.
or college kids like 7 beers in.
Yeah, and they're always putting their beer on the table. Like as they're playing ping pong, they like set the beer on the table and it makes like a ring on the table.
And it's a penalty, but they do it anyway. It's a penalty,
but they do it, yeah, because they're like, I can't help it, dude. What do you want? Where am I supposed to put my beer? Where am I like? Not on the table, dude. That's new. I just got that pool table refelted, and you're like, where do I put my beer? You got to put cup holders on the pool table.
Did you have friends or friends' parents who would just like the only thing they cared about was whether you put something on the pool table or not?
Yes. Yeah.
I just have vivid memory, and I was always the one putting things on or like sitting on the pool table. Yeah. And they'd be like, you can't do that.
My parents were smart enough. I remember my dad's logic. This is one of those deals where, like, as I get older, I have the aha moment where I'm like, that's why. Like, my dad maybe was a genius. When my dad came across a little discretionary income at one point in time when my brother and I were, adolescents, there was a debate in the family as to whether we buy a pool table or a ping pong table to put in the basement. And my dad was basically just kept arguing that, like, he's going to lose his mind over the pool table. They're like, we got to keep it in pristine condition. Like, you got to always change the parts and make sure the tips of the cues are all good. And like, everything. And he's like, ping pong, like you kind of buy the table, and he's like, it just seems like it's easier maintenance. So let's do that. And now that I get older, I do think about it, because that was all my friends with pool tables. That was like the deal. It was like like we'd be down there playing pool, and like you just see like the dad like peeking around the stairs of the basement.
Yeah,
like,
the dad would cut.
Is everything
like,
all right?
Yeah, I think I had a friend whose mom was really obsessive about it too, and like one of them would just come downstairs to check if there was like liquid anywhere near the pool table. And I was always the one screwing up. And so I completely understand your dad's also a ping pong table. I think the whole point is that it deteriorates. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I don't know a single ping pong table that didn't get warped in some way. And that was like part of the game.
That's part of the game. And
it was like the course in golf. It was the table in ping pong.
It's harder too with ping pong to do anything other than play the game that's designed to be played. With pool or billiards, if you will, it's very easy to like, should we be playing this, or what if we just put all the balls on the table and just start like throwing them around and like,
yes.
Or like you're playing a game and like one guy's like takes a swig of beer and he's like, watch this trick shot, and he's like taking the cue and like shoving it into the felt to like try to pop the cue ball, like that always happens with a group of young guys. Whereas ping pong, I think, like if I think back on it, like the only thing that we really did was we do the deal where you take your shirt off, and if you score a point,
I know.
do you know about that? You know about this?
You hit the
just
ping pong
you know,
at
smack
the ball.
the ping pong, yeah, at the guy's back, and leave a welt. That's that's about it.
I had friends in
Otherwise,
college who didn't even have a table, but had the paddles and the ping pong balls, and would just take their shirts off. And I remember being like, my IQ is rapidly falling as I watch this happen. It was one of the most, and they would pull their shirts up and like put them over their head like a kid would do when they scored a goal in soccer, and just stand there and be like, all right, my turn. And I'd be like, men shouldn't be in charge of anything ever. This is a horrible idea.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, ping pong, the only thing that ping pong lent itself to was like inevitably leaping over the table to get a shot.
Yeah.
And then you end up on the table, but it doesn't really, you're right, it doesn't invite shenanigans the way a pool table does.
Yeah, the pool table invites a lot of shenanigans, and I think frankly they just cost a lot more money, so maybe that was it. But
they are wildly expensive.
Yeah.
Pool tables.
Yeah.
I once asked the parents how much. I was like, okay, just for reference, like just so I know why you care so much. And they were like, it is thousands and thousands of dollars. And I was like, well, then why do you have it? I was like, go to a bar and ruin theirs. They were like, you're 13. And I was like, fair. Anyway, here's another one about the Olympics that I love. This is from Patrick Clark, subject line, Club Olympics. Mark and Char. On the topic of Club Olympics, I've always thought it would be fun to see an American Olympics where teams are made up of only residents of each state.
Love it. Yes.
Sure, a handful of states would have a population advantage, but that's how the International Olympics work already. It would be fun to see underdogs from all over the country win medals for their state. We could all have fun rooting against Florida. Looking forward to your visit to Madison this fall. I'll follow up with my local cheese curd rankings.
Wow,
Go Blue,
very
Pat in Wisconsin.
presumptive. Very presumptive that we will be making our way to Madison.
I know, but
also we probably will.
Is he right or is he wrong? We'll never tell.
But also that would be pretty sick. 'Cause
Mark,
I like Madison.
Yes, I love Madison. I hope we go there. I love this idea because I think it would be incredible to see, like, Florida, unfortunately, would just win at swimming because that's where all the swimmers live. But like, Wisconsin would win at curling every year.
Who is the Yankees of America? Is it California?
Yes.
Like, who's the state that
down.
everyone's like, I hate those guys so much, and they're like, they're like, you only hate us because we're better than you. That's got to be
Mark,
California, right?
California has every sport. You can ski there. Winter, Summer Olympics. The volleyball.
That's a great point. That reminds me of when I was on the boat in Malibu yesterday. No. That wasn't when I was on the boat. It was when I was playing beach volleyball the day before. There was a guy there who.
That is just. I hope everyone could see my face as you were talking, but they can't because it's a podcast.
I love the idea too of I mean, I'm not even the most extreme example, not even close to it, but I do feel loyalties to certainly Indiana and Ohio. Like I spent 18 years in Indiana, 13 years in Ohio. I went to school, and Indiana, I love. I will always be a Hoosier, but Ohio was like the first decision I made. As an adult, I could live anywhere. I want to go to school here. I want to live here. I'm not just doing this because my parents live here. I feel loyalty to both, and I like this idea because you're gonna put people like me, and even you maybe. I don't know. Are you a New Yorker now, Charlotte? People are asking.
I don't know, Mark.
Are you a Maine? Are you a Mainer?
So here's the thing. Like I would ride or die for Maine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
And I don't know that you would have to add like woodsman competitions to this for Maine to win anything, I think. But
it's not as clear what I would do, and thankfully, I'm not an athlete that's worth like being recruited to either state. But like, I love the idea.
I think you would get recruited for sure.
I love the idea of, say, someone like a Mike Conley, for example, who is similar to me. We went to school. He's even got ties to like Arkansas and stuff. But now he has to decide, what state are you representing, Mike? And he's like, I don't know. And we just that would be more. I think that would be more entertaining to me than the actual game. Just like
I think so too. Watching people decide.
Just like watch people decide who they want to represent.
It would be like, it wouldn't be optional. It would be like the draft. Like you would get drafted by a state. You could get drafted by several states though, and then you choose, but you have to play if you're drafted. Like you can't opt out.
But wait, are you just describing professional sports now?
Yeah, but it would be like for the Olympics.
Okay.
But you can opt out of professional sports. If you don't want to play in the NBA, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But if you get drafted to play basketball for Ohio, the state, not Ohio State.
I think you're describing the Civil War here. I think that's what's going on. It's like the Union Army.
I'm like, and it's only football, and by
fight.
football I mean war.
You must fight in the Union Army, yes, and we were going to fight. California would be hated. I think Texas would definitely be hated. Florida would be hated, right?
Yeah.
Who would be sneaky hated?
Massachusetts.
We're not thinking about Massachusetts
because people hate the Patriots so much.
Yeah, but Massachusetts wouldn't be that good at stuff though. So I think that would like.
We'd be decent.
Please.
We'd be okay at hockey.
Okay, who's watching that?
Okay, oh, come on. It's icing, Mark. Everybody watches hockey.
You'd be okay at hockey, but Minnesota would smoke you. Wisconsin would smoke you. Michigan would smoke you, right? Yeah. North Dakota, like all those are the. Alaska would probably be awesome at hockey.
Alaska would be sneaky good at golf.
You think?
Yeah, I don't know why. I think I once watched a video about golf in Alaska. That's why I said that. I'm
trying to think of the state that would be like would quickly emerge as I can't believe how much I hate them, but I really hate them.
I could see a southern state. I could see something like
Georgia or something.
Yeah. Oh God, I could see Georgia really.
Because the culture
everyone
around
from Atlanta, like loves being from Atlanta so much that everyone in Georgia would be so obnoxious about it.
The Atlanta culture of like you wouldn't get it because you're not from here, and I'm like I didn't say I did get it, and they're like no, but you don't get it, and I'm like I know I don't get it, and they're like yeah you don't get it. I'm like what are we doing? I don't get it.
Okay.
That's a great idea though. I like this idea, but I also think. I also think this idea might be a reality of the way the path this country's headed towards.
Yeah, this is getting a little too real. Well, speaking of the Midwest, here's one about the Guardians. Another Ohio-based email. The Cleveland Guardians. Yep. So this is an email from Anthony Sheff. And he wrote in and he said, you mentioned it seems like they haven't put much thought into it and wondered if they even secured the website guardians.com. Yeah. So he looked into it. It is a domain actively up for sale. He says it's possible that the MLB team has already acquired this domain and the banner is incorrect. I submitted an inquiry to see about buying the domain since MLB paid $375,000 for Rangers.com. I think any purchase amount below $200,000 for Guardians.com would be a steal and an easy way to make a few $100,000. If somehow the MLB team didn't acquire Guardians.com before announcing the name change, then that is a totally unforced error on their part. Announcing the name change with MLB's 9-figure domain purchase history dramatically increased the value of the domain. Anyway, I put in an offer of $50,000 for the domain, which I am quite sure will be rejected since I'm sure the team has reached out by this point, or someone else has thought the same thing. If I somehow were able to get this domain, should I sell it to the MLB team at a modest price markup to take advantage of their lack of planning and foresight? Or should I instead turn it into a ridiculous novelty site making fun of Cleveland sports? How much would Fox pay to advertise the People Sports Podcast on Guardians.com once the name change is official?
Great question. If you're sitting on Guardians.com, what is the move with that? I just checked, by the way, ClevelandGuardians.com goes to the roller derby team. Guardians.com. Oh, okay. Guardians.com is in fact up in the air. We don't know what's going on with that one.
I think that's brilliant. I'm a little upset that I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have $50,000 to just put on a website, but that sounds awesome. Congrats to Anthony.
Yeah, congrats to Anthony on killing it in life.
Must be nice to invest.
Or maybe he's not, like honestly, like maybe Anthony's just like a degenerate psychopath that just like
yeah, that's true. We don't know. People do things.
He pumped $100,000 into Dogecoin or whatever it's called. It's like, I don't have this money. It's
like I'm never looking back.
Trolling Cleveland the move? Is selling it for? I think you just sell it for the profit, right? I think that's.
Well, here's the thing. It depends how much effort you're willing to put in, because I'm someone who, if I could do one thing and make money off it, I would rather do that than do a sustained variety of things and potentially make more money. Like if you think you can make a lot of money selling t-shirts or like making money off of trolling Cleveland and you're willing to commit to the bit, then like great. I would so much rather just cash out.
Right. I would,
because I don't like doing things. I don't have the energy.
I would rather just degrade myself once and for a lot of money than like have a job. Than like work a career for like 30 years.
We're gonna get weird emails now.
I would rather, if all told, if everything's the same, I would rather just get it over with than go.
Honestly, Mark, I had a moment this morning where I was just like, do you ever have those days where I feel like everybody probably has these days where I love my job. I feel so grateful for my career. I have a really lovely life. But I was like, if someone would just give me a bunch of money and I could delete just everything from the internet and peace out. And then I was trying to find an article that I'd written. And so I Googled myself and I saw that the most frequent searches is the first one is what happened to Charlotte Wilder. And I was like, what happened? I was like, I'm right here. No. And so I was like, wouldn't that be wild if it was like the DB Cooper thing where I just totally just pieced out. I came into some money, deleted any record of myself, hired like reputation.com to scrub my reputation from the internet, which is a thing. And then maybe like 5 years later show up and I'm like, hey, I wrote a novel.
My mind just immediately went to like M. Night Shyamalan type shitty horror movie idea where you're alive the whole time and you're right in front of no one can see you. Like you're participating in society. Maybe it's been made before. I don't know. This might be an example of me inventing something that's already happened. Charlotte, you
definitely like a kid's. That was like a Nickelodeon. That's like the Secret Life of Alex Mack.
Shit. I thought her secret was she becomes mercury or something.
She turns into goo, but like
she turns into goo. But you are alive. You are participating in society. But only like 3 people can see you, and you slowly realize that like the rest of the world doesn't actually see you, and now everyone's like trying to find you, and you're just like screaming, "I'm right here! Why can nobody see me?" No, that's a bad idea. That's a bad.
No. Do you know what I think of? I think of anytime I lose my keys or my headphones. I know that they're somewhere in the house, and I think of them being so frustrated with me, just screaming like, "We're right here!" But I can't see them because
it's like
they're
Honey,
keys.
I Shrunk the Kids, and the kids are just like in the grass, like. Like,
don't step on me.
And you're Rick Moranis with your eyeglass, your magnifying glass. Like, where? I know you're down here somewhere.
Yeah, exactly like that. Just like that.
I think it's really a dire situation when that Google search changes to whatever happened to Charlotte Wilder. Like that's what happened right now? You're still okay. It's still a little like
know who's
murky.
Searching that.
Who's searching?
The other one was is Charlotte Wilder married, and then the other one was how tall is Charlotte Wilder? And I was like, I'm so glad all of these searches have to do with my actual job.
In solidarity, I'll Google myself real quick and see what
it's awful. Don't do it.
Pops up.
It was a terrible decision.
I searched Mark Titus. People also ask, what happened to Tate from The Ringer? That's good. I don't mind that one as much. What is a trillion in basketball? Where is Mark Titus from? And who is Titus and Tate? Are the 4 that popped up for me. Those aren't bad.
All right. Well, I need to crack your top 4 searches. I think people search you when they search me.
Be careful what you wish for, by the way, because like you're gonna get on there one time. It's gonna be like, why is Charlotte Wilder the worst? Why? Like,
oh no, they're already. Trust me. I've searched Reddit once. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that.
Back to I had this other thought. We'll wrap up this particular email because it was about the domain name. The idea of using Guardians to troll Cleveland sports. I feel like Charlotte, and this is the Ohio part of me talking. Cleveland trolling is slightly played out in the sense that the Cavs won the title, and I think that the whole point of mocking Cleveland was like, you guys will never win anything. The city's a dumpster fire.
Remember that time your river caught on fire?
Yeah, your river caught on fire, and your sports team suck. And then the Cavs won the title, and then the Indians go to the World Series. They didn't win, but they were right there in Game 7 against they go to Game 7 in extras against the Cubs. To where like I don't feel like. You know, you could still make fun of Cleveland for a lot of reasons, but it's not in my mind, it's not like the city of like LOL Cleveland.
I agree.
A lot of people disagree, and so my question is, what is the city? What is the city now if not Cleveland?
I think that it's interesting when you watch this shift happen where the city that everybody used as a punchline suddenly isn't really, because I mean, the Browns made it to the AFC Championship. They're, they're not. The divisional round.
They made it to the division round, but yeah. No.
Who made it to it was Chiefs.
Let's gaslight. The Bills did.
Oh, right. Okay,
right?
sorry. But like the Browns got into the playoffs for the first time since 1995, I believe. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
okay, that once you do something like that, sure, the Browns you can still joke about the Browns because they didn't win anything. But like, so I think that the city, I mean, the fact that one isn't immediately popping into my head is sort of,
Yeah.
oh, the Lions. Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit's probably the one.
But that feels like punching down. Do you know what I mean? Like Detroit is.
That's the exercise, isn't it?
Yeah, I get. But I mean, like as a city, like I think that Detroit is,
I guess
Cleveland
like if you want to punch up, it'd be New York right now, I guess, right? But like
yeah,
the Knicks are a dumpster fire in the eyes of many, even though they won one playoff game and everyone lost their mind.
yeah, I was there.
Certainly, the Jets are fun to make fun of. The Mets are fun to make fun of.
The Giants are fun to make fun of?
The Giants, I don't know. They're like the Yankees. They pretend like they're in a World Series drought. It's been like a decade, slightly more than a decade.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing for the Yankees.
If you
The
have
Yankees should
footage
feel
of,
bad.
if you have footage of your team celebrating a World Series title in high def, you're not in a World Series drought.
That's a great point.
Like the last time the Guardians, I'm sorry, the last time the Cleveland baseball team won a title, like television didn't even exist.
It's true. It was like
zero
black and white
highlights of
pictures.
And the Yankees are like, it's been 12 long years since we.
I hate
Yeah,
the Yankees.
I don't
so
know.
much.
I don't know who it would be, but Detroit would probably be the best answer, I'd say. But I don't know. They had the
Oh,
Red
you
Wings
know
in
what?
the 90s,
No,
right?
Minnesota sports. Like we
Minnesota's
get
a
so
good one.
many emails about how Minnesota, like we are never talking about how unhappy their fans
Minnesota's
are.
the real answer because Minnesota is such a loser city, which I say just sports wise. Like
Yeah.
Minneapolis is actually awesome. I love
Yeah.
Minneapolis so much, but the Minnesota sports are such a loser that even in talking about the biggest losers, they don't even
Exactly.
win that.
You don't think of them.
You never think of Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah.
You never think of Minneapolis.
So they
or-
won that. They won it being the
Yeah.
worst, maybe.
Yeah.
Congrats.
There you go.
Congrats
job,
to
Minnesota.
congrats to Minnesota. Oh yeah, also Atlanta, but
That's true.
I mean, they did their soccer team won, so
That's a good, Atlanta's a good. I think Atlanta has slowly become because I think Atlanta would be the internet's answer right now. That if you're trying to make memes about a city that always loses or a state
think
that
you're
always
right.
loses, I think Atlanta is like kind of the answer right now. But
Yeah.
it's not the best answer. I think Detroit and Minnesota. Anyway,
Detroit, Minnesota.
Moving on.
All right, we're gonna end on two emails. One is from Stephen Hoffman. He says this is from 2 weeks ago because we didn't do a Monday pod last week. He says, I listened to the latest honorable mentions pod yesterday and enjoyed your evaluation of the works of Uncle Cracker. However, I had forgotten what an insidious earworm follow me is, and just you fumbling your way through the chorus was enough to get it stuck in my head. Here it is, nearly 24 hours later, and it is still stuck in my head. Since you have caused my problem, I'm going to invite you to be part of the solution. Do you have a go-to song to get another song out of your head? Love the show and ever hopeful, Steve H.
now here's the problem: is the new song you're trying to just extract the first song out of your head using the new song, or you're trying to replace? Is this an Indiana
extract
Jones
it.
situation where you're quick switch? You know, or
no,
is
no,
it,
no.
Because
I have an answer.
there's a lot that are quick switches for me, but like
What's
then
a
you're
quick
just
switch
stuck in the same.
for
I don't know, like the song that never ends is a great one, but then now you have that song
Oh
stuck
God,
in
I
your head
hate
forever.
that song.
Yeah, but like it'll get whatever other song you had in your head out.
But that's just
it.
worse.
Yeah.
That's worse. So that's a bad answer, Mark. I have a weird one, which is it's a piece of classical music.
Okay.
And it was this is so embarrassing that I'm saying it. Did you ever watch Masterpiece Theater on PBS?
Master P.
Masterpiece. It was like they put on like adaptations of great books on,
Oh
like,
no.
Yeah.
Masterpiece. Oh, oh my God.
Masterpiece.
I thought you said Master P apostrophe S. Master P's Theater on PBS, and I was like, that show sounds amazing. Like, how have I never heard of this?
No, Masterpiece Theater, and
No.
Sesame Street did a spoof of it, and they had it was I think it was Sir Alistair Cook who did the intro to it every week, and they had Sir Alistair Cookie, and it was Cookie Monster dressed up in a maroon velvet blazer, and it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen at the age of 6, because my mom watched Masterpiece Theater, and the intro song, I forget what, it is a piece of classical music that I used to know the name of, but I just think it is a Masterpiece Theater song. It goes do 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 do. And any since I was a kid, anytime I had a song stuck in my head, if I sing that one, it actually gets the other one out and doesn't replace it with anything.
What, Charlotte, you have your process, and I think that's the important part here. If it's crazy but it works, it's not crazy. So there you go.
This can still be a little crazy.
The song currently stuck in my head because I've been making my way through the OC as first reported on the People Sports Podcast.
Huge if true.
Is the theme song, the California, and it's gotten to the point where I start singing it and then I replace California with like whatever I'm about to do. So like as I was walking to go play beach volleyball, I'm like, beach volleyball, here we come back to, I just like sing it in my head.
That's good. I like that. You know what I've been doing that with? There's a new Lorde song called Stoned at the Nail Salon, which is just, it's about exactly what it sounds like. But I keep changing stoned to whatever word I want. So I'd be like, I'm stuck at the nail salon, or like eating breakfast at the nail salon.
Yeah,
so it's good that we're both.
We get it. Yeah, we're on the same page there. Who wrote in? What was the guy's name?
Steve.
Steve, I have a solution. You now have "Hey Soul Sister" by Train in your head.
No, Mark. Why?
Godspeed.
Awful.
Good luck to you. The next 3 to 5 days, trying to get that out of your head.
Okay, this is the last email I'm going to read, and you'll understand why. The subject line is Chattahoochee from Sammy Clough. What's up, guys? Thanks for reading my Uncle Cracker email last week. Just wanted to bring up Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson again for the day ones. You guys are my favorite podcast ever. Keep it going. Also, my last name is pronounced like tough. That's it. That's
did you mess that up?
Email. Yeah, I said Sammy Claw last time.
Oh, so it's Clough?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, he just brought up Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson, which, if you haven't been listening since the inception of the show, it is our favorite music video of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty perfect. It's Alan Jackson wearing a Dallas Cowboys jersey and cowboy boots and a cowboy hat and water skiing.
And jeans.
Yeah, and jeans.
Most importantly.
And that's pretty much...
Yeah.
That pretty much covers it all. I mean, that was the Chattahoochee River goes through Georgia, right? I think so.
Sure.
Bring it full circle.
Tennessee?
Bring it full circle. I don't think Georgia can be. I don't think we can make LOL Atlanta or Georgia jokes when you have ownership over the Chattahoochee music video.
That's a great point.
Like I think you've won forever. I think that is bigger than winning any Super Bowl or anything else. Yeah. So
if you've got that, you've got
Chattahoochee.
everything.
Yeah, it is. I just Googled it. It's in Georgia. Georgia and Alabama. Oh, it becomes the Georgia-Alabama line. Not to be confused with Florida-Georgia line.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a band, kind of. Mark, there's one thing that we have to talk about, though, before I sign off, which I'm sorry to do to you, but Peyton Manning posted a picture of himself, or the NFL I don't know, somehow a picture of Peyton Manning hit the internet where he is standing with Tom Brady at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, where they unveiled a bust of himself, of Peyton, which, quick sidetrack, busts of sports figures are the funniest things in the entire world.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Did you see when Peyton Manning unveiled his bust, his dad like tapped his forehead?
No.
That was the first thing. I thought he was making a joke because I thought he was like, "Son, you got a big ass forehead. Just tap."
Wait, did he tap the bust's forehead?
The bust's forehead.
Forehead?
Yeah, like it looked like Archie was like, "Yep, got that part right. Your big ass forehead you got there."
That's so good. Well, in the picture circulating, Peyton's shirt is sweaty from the neck to right above his belly button. And then the rest of it is dry. And he's standing there with his arm around Tom Brady. And I have several questions. One, how did that happen? Two, did they not realize it before they posted the picture? Three, if they did realize it and posted the picture anyway, I so respect that. Because they're like, yeah, Peyton was sweaty. What do you want us to do about it? But Tom Brady wasn't sweaty at all, which makes me wonder, was Peyton just very nervous if no one else was sweaty and it wasn't that hot? Like, what is going on here? Do you see the picture?
I don't. I'm trying to find it. I don't know what. I don't know where it is. How do I find
the
this?
Colts put it out. That's what it was.
Okay, hold on. They just dropped it
You
in a
got the
little
link?
chat. Yeah, but I can't click on the link, so I gotta copy and paste it. Hang on.
It's very analog.
All right, here we go. Peyton. Oh, oh no.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I think if he buttons up his jacket, he can hide it well enough.
But he
not
doesn't.
really.
Like,
but he
it
doesn't
felt
button
like
up
an
his jacket.
intentional choice to stay sweaty.
Yeah, is Tom Brady on his tiptoes? It looks like he's kind of on his tiptoes.
Yeah, I also don't
It
think
looks
they
like
like
he's trying
each
to
other
be on
very
it.
much.
I don't think they do either.
That picture, like, they hated each other. They had to have, or at least they were competitive to the point where
I don't think they hated each. I think they were just like, yeah, you're just like another quarterback. That was always my read on them. It's like I kind of like, yeah, you're good. It's whatever, but we're not like best friends. And then you pretend to be best friends because I don't know. What a weird. Yeah.
Do you think
I don't like
Peyton's
it.
mad that Brady's still playing and he isn't?
I don't know. I think
Because I
he's
wouldn't
probably,
be. I'd be like, dude,
yeah.
you're crazy that you're still playing sports.
Yeah, you're kind of
You're
out of your
44.
mind. Yeah, yeah. I also think that like, there's no way to. I guess like the only reason you'd be mad is that you thought there's like a GOAT debate, but I don't think there's. For a lot of people, there was never a debate that Brady was better anyway. But I don't think any of it matters as much in football. I think that's like, I don't know. I think that's just like residual effect of basketball talk that like GOAT debates made their way into football.
I think
Where like
so,
I don't
too.
think football players actually care. I do think basketball players like grow up caring about that now.
Yes.
Of like, am I like I don't know, like it's in Zion's head. Zion Williamson is like, or Luka is like thinking like, could I maybe be the GOAT? What do I have to do? How do I? Maybe not. I don't know. But that's my read on it. Or like Patrick Mahomes, I don't think he gives a single damn about like how do I get to a point where I
he's
can go
like-
down as the greatest of all time.
He's like, first of all, I can throw a football into a trash can 100 yards away without
Yes.
looking. So tell me I'm not the greatest.
Tell me I'm
Second
not
of
the
all,
GOAT.
I just made $500 million by signing my name. So like, I think I'm all set.
But I think that's the reason if you're Peyton, you're mad at Tom Brady because he's like he's putting the GOAT conversation out of reach. But I also think if you're Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, like maybe that's it. Maybe like Brady's the only guy that's ever cared about being the GOAT, which is why he ended up being the GOAT. The rest of them were like, was this a contest? I didn't
They're
realize
like, you were playing a game that we didn't know we were
I didn't
playing.
know we were. Yeah, did this
Congrats,
start already?
man.
Yeah.
It's also hilarious that Peyton's getting his bust unveiled while Brady's still, he's like, we're going to win another Super Bowl. It's like Brady could have been standing there like getting his, I would love to see, I think it would be funnier if they had inducted Brady while he was still playing because they're like, well, you're around the same age, so we'll just like put you in. But instead it's like everyone was running a marathon and Brady was like, I'm going to run 3 ultra marathons. And they're like, you would have just won the marathon, man. Like, you could have stopped.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm still confused by GOAT and bust, meaning there are two meanings to GOAT and there are two meanings to bust in sports, and they are polar opposites of what the meanings. It's like flammable and inflammable mean the same thing. This is like the opposite of that, where you can be a GOAT. Huh?
Inflammable?
Yeah, inflammable. Isn't flammable and inflammable? They both mean you can capable of being lit on fire.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I never
Oh, okay.
put that together.
you never-
Inflammable
Yeah.
means it's flammable?
It's flammable. Yeah, I believe.
This is the stupidest
Right?
language in the entire world.
Isn't it? Am I stupid?
No, I think I'm stupid.
Wait, inflammable means, or is that? No, I'm stupid. Wait a second.
You're stupid? Okay.
No, both flammable and inflammable mean the same thing, despite the fact that they look like opposites. Yeah. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
not stupid.
okay.
You're
Well,
stupid.
that's-
You're
I'm
in fact
stupid. I'm stupid.
No, GOAT means, it used to mean, you were the guy that dropped the game-winning touchdown. You were the guy that had the grab. Bill Buckner, you're a GOAT. You're the GOAT.
Did it
Bill
really
Buck-
mean that?
Yeah.
Was
you're the
it
scapegoat.
used as a
You're
bad-
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you're the GOAT. You screwed that up. You're the GOAT. And then now GOAT means you're the greatest of all time.
Wow.
And then bust is like, I can't believe we
biggest
drafted
draft
you.
bust, right.
Yeah. But then now it's also
Or-
like, here's your
Here's your
yeah.
bust.
here's your bust.
It's also
You're
funny
welcome to
because
the Hall of
bust
Fame.
means chest. Anyway. Maybe this podcast is over.
Who's got the biggest bust size?
Who's got the biggest bust in the whole?
in the Hall of Fame? Oh man.
All right. Well,
Good times.
great stuff, Mark.
There it is.
Send us more emails, guys. Let's keep these email centipedes going. I love when we talk about the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and in the meantime, go watch the Chattahoochee music video, and we will see you guys later this week.
Yeah, you'll thank us later.